now I gotta find my wrench.
So I just got a call from a buddy. We're gonna take a quick break on this thing and head to town and help him pull off his fan on his water pump on, I think it's a 09 Ford half-ton. So we'll try and do a quick video of that. Okay, so we're gonna get everything ready here. I got my air hose, I got my air hammer, and then I got a toolkit for taking off these fans off these hubs. So I'll show you what that looks like here in a sec, but we'll get everything packed out, lined up, and ready to go. So we're here in town with Taylor. We got his Ford right here. So I'll show you guys what we got to do next on getting this fan out. So down there, right there, that's your fan hub nut. And we got to try and get that off. Usually, well, not usually, but sometimes you can get them with a wrench and a hammer. But I brought my special tools, so we'll grab that, put it on there, hook up some air to the semi, and see if that'll hammer it off. Okay, so here's what we got for tools. So this is for specifically for pulling off fans, these big single nut fans. So this here is going to go into the air hammer, and then we got all the different sizes of wrenches that go in there. The biggest thing to remember on these that a lot of guys don't understand is to unthread the fan, you always loosen it the direction that the fan has to spin. Everybody always thinks lefty loosey, righty tighty, but that's not the case with these. It's set up that way so that when your fan is running and under resistance, it'll tighten it up and not spin itself off. So basically we're gonna have to figure out what size of wrench we need here, which if you look down here now, another thing real quick, this fan is electric. So what Taylor's already done is taken this bracket off, unplugged it. We're gonna let that drop down because what we don't want is this in the way when we're hammering. We don't want to break that electrical connection there. So we'll see what size this is. This is a 32 millimeter, and that is too small. So we'll go a little bit bigger here. We'll try a 36. And that seems pretty good. I'll see if I got one in between, but I doubt it. Yeah, I think we're gonna be running a 36 millimeters. So for all you guys, if you need a wrench, the common way is you just get a 36 mil wrench, put it on there and hammer it over, and that sometimes will break it loose, but having these air tools is always better. And to hook this up, it just basically sits in place. So we'll get the wrench on there, and then I'll actually switch your spots here, Taylor. And we just kind of set that in there. And now I gotta find my wrench. What the big problem with these is your belt is gonna slip on that hub. So as we push it, you can see that spinning. So the one fix for that is we can add extra tension on that tensioner pulley, but we'll try it this way real quick a couple times. Yeah, so that's the biggest problem with this, and that's why it's hard to do with just a regular wrench, is that hub is going to spin on that belt. So what we'll do is we'll try and get that to stop spinning. So what we're doing now is on the belt tensioner down here, it takes just a 1/2 inch ratchet end. So we got a breaker bar in there, and then I kind of just used a extension and socket to give us extra leverage. What we're going to do is apply extra pressure to put more tension on this belt so that it doesn't slip on that pulley, and then that should give us the traction we need to pop that apart. Okay, Taylor, if you give that a pull. You ready?
Yep.
There we go. Yeah. So if you look there, guys, if you watch here, now you can see it spinning off. There we go. Okay, we'll get this off and then we'll show you how to pull that water pump off. So to get that fan out of there, we're just gonna pull off this upper rad hose. It's just kind of going across the path that fan needs to come out of there. So basically all you do is compress those clamps and then slide them up the hose and it'll pop right out of there. And sometimes they are a pain. Very strong springs on those things. Come on, grunt. Gotta hold your tongue right.
Oh, I think I broke it.
Oh no, it'll go. It's just on the flange now. Oh yeah, it did break.
Yeah,
Shoot.
It's okay.
Well, typical Ford. Oh.
Is it?
Oh. That is glued on there. We got to get a screwdriver behind that and kind of break that bond. See if I got any screwdrivers in here. No, of course I didn't bring any. Let's see what we got in here. There we go. That's what we'll use. I think I got regular hose clamps at home that we can replace that broken one with. So what happens is these rubbers will bond to these outlets and makes them a pain to get out of there. Try and get that hose right up, that clamp off of there, but that is a nightmare. Okay, I'm gonna put this phone down so I can use two hands. Okay, so we got this hose out of the way. We're just gonna get a regular screw clamp to put that back together later. And then this fan just comes out just like butter. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna loosen off that belt tensioner and we're gonna break all these loose first though while there's tension on that pulley. And then that way we can just spin them off by hand to get that pulley off, and then the water pump's just right behind that. Oh, what the heck? What's this? Oh, that's an 11 mil socket. Where's my 10? Somebody put the wrong socket in my toolbox. Okay, so those are good. Taylor had already got the rest of those out of there. So I will grab that breaker bar and we will get this. Sorry for the bad angles. It's a Ford. It's hard to get in there. Holy moly. Oh, come on. There we go. So that's loose there now. And we're going to slide that off there. All right, now here's where all the money is. It's that water pump right there. So if you look right here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's that weeping hole. And that's where all the coolant was coming out. So the radiator's already been changed in this truck, and now we put it all back together, and the water pump was leaking. So we'll get that all off. It looks like it's all 10 mil bolts as well. Okay, found it. Well, what's holding it in there right now is just that rubber seal. So I'm just gonna have to either tap it with a hammer or pry on it a little bit. See if we can do it by hand. Come on. There we go. So this is the old one here. And that's your weep hole right there where all that coolant was coming out when we tried filling it. So we'll get that new one ready to go and put it into place. I'm going to make sure that there's not a bunch of stuff packed in the front of that housing, because we don't want anything interfering when we put this one on. We will lubricate this with a bit of coolant, just so this rubber goes in a little easier. Got some dripped all over. You can put grease on these O-rings. Assembly lube, just regular packing grease, doesn't really matter. But we will try and get this oriented right. think what I'm going to do is start all these bolts and then just try and push it into place. You don't want to start tightening one bolt and have it pull it in crooked and break something. But getting all these bolts started at least means it's clocked right for the rotation, and then you're not fighting anything. Now we'll try and push it in onto that rubber. Oh. Yeah, I might have to end up just threading this in by hand. But you always want to go across from the other bolt and try and pull it in as even as possible. The housing that this is going into is tapered, which will hopefully pull it in pretty straight. Usually this stuff I'll do by hand. You just want to make sure you don't have any unusual resistance. So we can see right there it's flush. I can see over here that it's flush. So now we're just going to tighten everything up. And I always hand torque this kind of stuff, especially when you're going into aluminum. So I'll just get them so they're touching. Anyways, those are on there, so now I'm just going to grab my ratchet and do them all by hand so they're not over tight. Click. That's my torque wrench. Click. And click. And click. So that's all good there. Now we're going to get that pulley on there, wherever it got to. I'm going to toss it right here. I'm going to make sure I wipe it off really good so it doesn't have too much coolant on it, but I think we're kind of screwed either way. That belt's all covered. Another big thing to remember doing jobs like this is always get all your bolts started before you tighten any of them, because it's just Murphy's Law that once you get to your last one, it won't align and you'll never get the bolt in if you get any of the other ones tight first. And this one also is kind of hub centric, so you want to kind of push it on, make sure that it's on that hub before you tighten any of them. But we'll be able to use this cordless ratchet and it'll suck them up nice and get them pretty tight without having to put that belt on. Of course, we'll hand check these after the belt's on there, but that gets them good that it's not going to shift or be a problem once we get this belt on there. So if you look up here on your hood, that's your route pattern for your belt. So if you ever forget, you can always reference that. Sometimes they're not on there and you gotta look it up, but they're usually on there. So I'm just kind of basically starting at the crank and working my way across here. And I want to be able to put it on the alternator because that's the easiest part for me to reach. So I'm just kind of eyeballing everything. Everything so far looks good. Now, there we go. So I'm a little bit off on this one. We're just gonna loosen it, put it back on. I'm on the air conditioning pump. I'm on tensioner pulley, idler pulley, alternator, water pump, another idler pulley, power steering, and idler. Everything's in the grooves. Always make sure you check that nothing's out by one groove, one tooth, or anything like that. Just gonna make sure on the back of this, there's a little bit of fluid in there. I don't want anything in there. I want that dry and clean. If you get like a water grease, water fluid, it's gonna hydrolock and you could damage something. So we're just gonna play it safe and make sure everything's wiped out, and it'll help it spin on easier and tighten up properly. And if you ever have to fight this to go on, you're cross-threaded. And remember that it always goes on the opposite way that the fan spins. You have to spin the fan backwards. And basically all we're going to do here is I got it touching down. Being as these are designed to tighten as it runs, I don't have to get it crazy tight. Or if I put that tool, so we're going to put that there, and we're just going to give it a bit of a buzz. And that'll keep her locked on. Don't put Loctite or anything on, or you're going to have a nightmare, unless you hate the next mechanic that's going to work on it. Now we can pop that off the tensioner pulley. We're going to double check these by hand with a wrench. And then I think we can put on the hose, fill it with water, and try it out. So before I go on with this upper rad hose, we did get these tightened by hand. I just used a wrench, and then I just feel for how tight I want to make them. After getting this off, there's some stuff built up there that I don't want to have an issue with for that hose sealing. So Taylor's going to grab me some sandpaper. I'm going to just kind of scuff that up, clean it up a little bit. And then we're probably going to have to get a hose from my place later, or a clamp, I mean. But we'll get it on there and start getting this thing filled. Well, we've got the fan plugged in. I'm going to leave this up to Taylor now to finish off. Fan's on. We just got to get this hose clamp here, which I'm going to get for him tomorrow, and then that's pretty much it. He's just got a little bit of stuff under here to do still, intake tubes and stuff like that, but that's going to be it for this job. Hope you guys enjoyed it.